What's up, everybody? Up in Bronx, I just came from looking at a fire panel that had some phone lines out of service, and everything was okay on my end. The two radios were up in service, no problems. So I'm not sure what happened. Fucking windy tonight. I'm looking to get out of here because this part of South Bronx is pretty creepy at night. I'm not really too much of a fan of being hanging around here. I don't want to get jacked. I don't want two dudes to come up behind me and just be like, get off the bike. One time when I was driving through here, I had like two dudes on a scooter. They were real young though, not very experienced riders. They were riding on like a really slow 50cc scooter, and they were trying to like get a jump on me, and I just fucking blasted them. Like, I just blew their fucking doors off. Like, there was no way they were gonna even come near me, but they were really trying. And one of them was making a joke about I'm gonna get the helmet too. When I heard him, like when it was when I was sitting at a light, they pulled up on me. I'm gonna get the helmet too, and I blew through the light. Because I wasn't about to sit around. Like around here, you gotta like you gotta blow through lights here sometimes. But they were coming behind me on something like this. I mean, that thing's fine for getting around the city, but it's got like zero power. Yeah, the thing doesn't have any power at all. So I just blew their doors off, get out of there, because I didn't want to be anywhere near where these people were fucking around on that scooter. And but you know, I guess it could have been they were just fucking around, you know, because you don't even know. But I wasn't about to take any chances when they were following behind me. Like when I heard them talking, like as they were approaching, I was even looking in my mirror, because in South Bronx I always keep an eye on my mirrors. You know, when I'm at a light sitting like this, I'll keep an eye, because I don't know if I'm about to get rammed, because somebody's fucking around, you know, cutting it up, or if there's some dudes on scooters that are about to jack me. But I wasn't about to find out and get surprised, you know. I was definitely, without a doubt, looking to take care to be sure these dudes were not going to get close to me after I heard them talking when they were pulling up, because they just didn't look right. Like when they were pulling up behind me, the whole thing looked weird. Yeah, the whole thing looked like strange, like the way they were, just their body posture and stuff from behind me. But I would imagine, like in Brazil and stuff like that, in South America, you got to be really careful, like when you're out at night on a nice bike, because you could easily get jacked. and they have videos of it, you know. And it's not an occurrence that you would normally see in New York. Most people would come steal your bike after you park it, but it's not uncommon for somebody in New York to follow you and watch what you do with your bike, how you lock it up. I mean, you'll just like it. I've been in situations in Harlem where I parked and I could see people actually looking, like I could see eyes on me, like, and I was like, oh shit, these dudes are scoping me out, you know. But I don't know if they were following me or what. Like, I wasn't even sure. I didn't really keep an eye like that because I was unaware that these types of you know, motorcycle jackings were even happening, you know. But now, from what I understand, they're quite common in LA. Like, not motorcycle jackings, but carjacking are very common. Now, I don't know if motorcycle. It would be interesting to hear from other people if motorcycle jackings are happening in LA. I doubt it. I mean, because I haven't heard about it, and I have other friends that are riders, and they haven't mentioned it to me. But the person who clued me into it was a neighbor who got his Ninja stolen. He said, dude, these people like fuck around and follow you. He said, I've been followed twice, because he works on Grand Concourse up by the housing court. He clued me into it and said, you know, I'm not sure, but I think that twice some young dudes was following, young bloods was following me, and he was saying these young bloods is following me, and I can't confirm or deny it, but he goes, I'm pretty sure these young bloods was following me, but I just fucking bolted. I didn't stick around at all. I was out of there, you know, like, which you know, from my point of view, that's the right thing to do. You know, he said he just started blowing lights and getting out of there, and it was interesting because I was like, wow. And this is something that he said he had also never seen prior to the pandemic. He said because basically prior to the pandemic, you might see like some scooters here and there, but you didn't see actively stolen bikes being driven all over the place. Not too much, you know. It was still happening because they always did it from the Bronx. You know, they would come out, steal bikes, and ride them around to do whatever activities required a stealth bike with no plate. And you know, you just don't want to be part of knowing about who you are, you know, like that's basically the gist of it. Man, that bike stinks. Yeah, that's a 2-cycle right there. So that's a point too. That's another thing that you never saw. And the 2-cycles have a little bit more horsepower, I think. You know, they just have a lot more. Like, I've seen dudes on 2-cycles just hauling ass, you know. Seems like 2-cycles have a lot more get up and go. I'm not a big dirt guy. I just happen to like dual sports, so I don't have any experience with 2-cycle bikes. But from my experience of driving them once in a while here and there, I do know they have a lot of get up and go. No doubt about that. I mean, so if you're running around Bronx, like committing crimes in Manhattan, a 2-cycle scooter, say 50cc or even a 125, I mean, you don't give a shit like about pollution control laws and stuff like that. I mean, not that I'm not big on that either, but because I don't think they really produce that much pollution, but people will tell you otherwise. Like I did have somebody in LA one time call to me and say, your motorcycle pollutes. It was an old KLR. It wasn't even smoking, but she said, your motorcycle pollutes way more than any car. And I said, really? I mean, it's only a one cylinder. And she said, no, but it's all about the particulate that thing's putting out. So I listened to her. I wasn't about to be a dickhead and be like, no, you're full of shit. But she mentioned that, you know, and I was like interested in that because then there was actually, years ago, there was an article in the LA Times about it. About particulate and how motorcycles have no pollution control at all. But soon after that, all motorcycles came with some sort of pollution control. Even these XRs come with, you know, something to burn that extra fuel coming out of there. And it's got a canister, charcoal canister, all that stuff. And it's got the noise reduction, things like that. But yeah, I would say like, anyway, getting back to my point, I'm digressing. These two scooters that these guys driving around, I mentioned it before in my videos because I continue to mention it just to give status reports on it for other riders. It's not about like trying to make interesting conversation and stuff like that. It's just about the fact that I'm still seeing them and they seem to be here to stay. There is nobody stopping to check these guys. Now, 80% of the people riding these things is food delivery workers. So, do you really want to fuck with these guys? I mean, I don't blame the police for not really enforcing too much because they don't want to mess with food delivery people. They've already got it hard enough. They're being robbed and stuff like that. But what I noticed is like the food delivery guys, they have more of a tendency to get robbed on an electric bike. At least with a gas scooter or a two-cycle scooter, their chances of being robbed is less because whoever is going to jack them has to be on a motorcycle too. Especially on one of those two-cycle, you know, 125cc or whatever. They're more powerful. They've got more get up and go. It would require somebody to have the same power to get at it, you know. Not going to be able to just jump up on that person on a bicycle, because if they're smart and they look in their mirrors like most delivery riders do, they're going to be looking in the mirrors. If they see something spooky coming up behind them, they're out of there. And I know it's like in Bronx they're starting to use these two cycles because these two cycles are giving them some more escape paths, you know. But they just ride them in the bike lanes. Like they even go across the First Avenue Bridge. They don't ride these in the street at all. Like if they have the chance, they're gonna ride it in the bike lane as much as they can. But they scoot into the street when there's no traffic. And actually, one thing I did notice is like the bike lanes, for example, like on the First Avenue Bridge going from Harlem into Bronx. That bridge is a very tricky spot for them to get robbed. So they do often get robbed over there. But anyway, to get back to you guys on the status of it, the two cycles are here to stay. These motorized scooters are here to stay. The electrics are here to stay. The electrics are fine. They passed a law in New York allowing these devices, so there's no problem with them. There was some discussion, you know, pre-pandemic, where they were actually starting to enforce on these electrics, where they were going to get rid of them. Like they would do enforcements once in a while and just nab everybody for driving on these electric scooters. But that's all changed. You know, they're totally legal now. and all the delivery guys were using them. But the problem is, when the pandemic happened, these delivery guys were getting robbed on these electric bikes and scooters, and they still are, and it's gotten worse. They're getting beaten up, robbed. It's an easy you're an easy target. You know, they know you have some money on you. Not always, though. I mean, I find it to be weird that young people are targeting them, because for the most part, like, people order from Uber Eats, they do everything by credit card. So how much money does the guy really have? You know, that's the interesting thing. I don't know why they even have that tendency to get robbed, because if you're going to rob anyone, you probably, like, that would be the last person you would think to rob, because it's all credit card stuff. But, like, the other day, one of them got attacked in Bronx, and he was, like, beaten with a baseball bat. And didn't even take anything. And then they just busted his bike up really bad. They busted his bike up real bad. So I'm not really sure what the deal is, why they always get, like, fucked up like that, because it doesn't seem like it would make sense. Like, seems like that would be not the person to rob. But they are getting targeted. So now, after when the pandemic really sunk in, these delivery guys, they started getting hammered, and it's never stopped. It hasn't let up at all. So what they've done is they go out and buy these cheap Chinese scooters, but they seem to be all right. Like, I see, like, these mobile mechanics going around. There's a whole industry popping up with this stuff in New York that was never here before. It just reminds me of Southeast Asia, because you got, like, these guys. One thing that's really lacking in the industry is tire repair. Like, you have people, like, they have mobile mechanics that go around and service the bike, but they don't fix tires. They go around on a scooter themselves. You got a toolbox in the back, full tools, starting fluid, all the gear they need, pretty much, you know, fuel hose, spark plugs, soldering irons. I saw the guy doing some crazy shit with, like, coils, and he was just doing some fucking crazy shit. Like, he had some old coils, like, in his toolbox. He was trying to fix a scooter on the gas station on 125th, and he just, like, was ripping into this thing. And he got it running, though. I was watching him because I was fixing something on my bike at the time. This was last year. And he definitely got it running. So this whole industry's popped up, but it's still not like Southeast Asia, where if you got a tire, like, you could be at 1 o'clock in the morning in Bangkok or Manila, you could get a tire changed or fixed. You know, I mean, you're gonna have, like, a vast selection at 1 o'clock in the morning, but you'll get somebody to do, like, a vulcanized patch on a tube and even a tire. So if you have, like, a hole in your tire and you don't have tubes, they'll do like a repair on it. Vulcanized anyway, which is fine. It'll get you home. Actually, it'll do more than get you home. It'll get you home and more. You know, like, work the next day, all all that you got to do. So it's not bad. Well, like I said, I wouldn't say we're anywhere near that. But the whole industry that's popped up is amazing. Like these mobile mechanics going around, they got the basic stuff they need to fix Chinese scooters. No stuff like this though, because these Hondas, KLRs, all that, they have more expensive Japanese OEM stuff. But it's just too much product selection. Like if you got a stator for the XR, it's not going to match up to a stator for a KLR. It's totally different. So I don't think they could even think to carry stuff like that around. I'm going all the way to 26 on the west side. This is actually this customer that moved from Navy Yard, so it's kind of like they're in my neck of the woods. But I like going to I miss going to the Navy Yard actually already. I got a couple more trips I can do over there, and that's it. I'm done. My Navy Yard trips are going to be over at that point, unless I pick up another client over there. I'll tell you what, those speed bumps are absolutely nothing for this XR. You could haul ass over just about any fucking speed bump, and it doesn't even phase the bike at all. KLR will get like a little bottomed out, but this fucking thing will just pound over it. But this XR is top heavy. Like I noticed, you would never believe, but if I told you that the XR is harder to pick up when it falls over than the KLR, it really is. The XR, when it falls over, it falls perpendicular to the ground. Like basically, it's just fucking right. When you go to lift it up, it just drags. So you gotta like have the wheels hit up against something so you can pick it